Shalom, today is December 19th and we're in 440 days of the war in Israel. The newspaper, big headline, Mechakim l'reshima, waiting for the list. And the last few days in Israel, it's all about the hostage release deal, as Israel is very much anticipating and hoping for a release, but there are different approaches. Up here it says, B'shem ha'chatufim, in the name of the hostages. And hostage family members are holding up the posters with their family members, hoping and anticipating for this deal, hoping that everybody will be released at one time. And down here it reads, B'shem ha'imahot, in the name of the mothers. And it explains and shares the experience of mothers of soldiers that have post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, after they have witnessed the horrific events and atrocities on October 7th. Came back very, very different. Their children came back very, very different, and they're still dealing with the stress disorder. The headline reads, Bein pachad letikva. Pachad is fear, tikva is hope. So it's between fear and hope. And this is the story, the emotions of the hostage families that are on one hand hopeful for this release deal, but as other deals were so close to coming into fulfillment, but they fell through this time too. These families are afraid it will fall through, and they're afraid their hostages or their family members will not be returning. And it reads that on one hand, these families are encouraged as they're hearing the reports that a hostage release deal is progressing. On the other hand, they're worried that in this deal presented on the table, not all of the hostages will return, because the deal is presenting a partial return of just some of the hostages, not including young men and soldiers. And all of the rest, yes, so they're called humanitarian hostages, those that will be released in this deal, if there will be a deal. These hostages, these families of hostages are well experienced with disappointments, and they say this: "Anachnu lemudei achzavot." We know what disappointment is, and we do not want to keep our hopes up so much. In these small squares are the pictures of the hostages, and the larger ones are the family members. One of the most famous ones is the Bibas family, father, mother, and the two little children. One of them was a baby, 9 months old when he was kidnapped. This is the mother's sister. Here's Doron. She's 31 years old, still hostage, and this is her sister, Yamit. And here's Daniel, and his grandpa, Oded Lifshitz, is still kidnapped. These families have been waiting for 440 days for the return of their loved ones. I cannot even imagine what they're going through in their spirit, in their mind, and in their body. Haggai says, we're excited, but we also we expect to be disappointed on the other hand. We know it takes time from the signing until the release. I wish all of them will be beyachad, together, but it doesn't seem it will be this way. We're optimistic people, and we hope that a miracle will happen, but we need to keep ourselves, guard ourselves, and not develop too many expectations. The big concern of the family is that if only some of them return, there will not be a next time for the return of the rest. Hamas wants to send back also dead bodies, dead hostages, but Israel is trying to, yes, they want the dead back, but specifically this time they want as many live hostages as they can. They're asking for specific hostages that are alive for their names, and Hamas is not cooperating. Next headline, Pagashti Yeled im Einaim lelo mabat. I met a child with eyes but without a look, without a gaze. And this is a mother speaking about her own child that returned from October 7th after he's experienced what he's seen, and he came back very, very different. And many mothers need to handle and deal with their children with the PTSD. Here they're sharing about the battle of their lives. It says, Hakrav shel chayehen, the battle of their lives. We are their anchor, they clarify. We cannot trust anybody else to stand by them and support them. One of the moms is quoted here. Her name is Liat, and she said, at 7:30, he called me to say goodbye from near Gaza, right on October 7th. He said, Mommy, I love you. Ani ohev otach, lo nipagesh yoter. We will not meet again. And there was a hard battle there. He came back alive, but I saw it was not my child anymore. He was completely empty. He refused to take down his weapon and his ammunition vest because he did not feel safe at home. At the end of this article, they do put here a number to call if families or people need extra help and they need this support. So a support line. This article presents another angle of what Israel is going through. It's not only hostages or many dead people or even injured people, which is over 13,000 injured people and soldiers from the war. These are the injuries that we do not see. They're inside, they're internal, and sometimes we cannot even identify it from the outside. So it's a whole nother level of distress that Israelis are going through. The next headline is about evacuees from the north. Now that they've been evacuated for over a year and they're living in the central part of Israel, they're identifying, recognizing the differences between the central part of Israel and the outskirts. So they're saying, one of the headline is this: Hatnaim lechazara, the conditions to return to their home, chinuch v'tmicha regshit, education and emotional support. So not only security, going back to their homes if it's safe up there, they're also adding two conditions: better education, as they see is much better in the central part of Israel, and more emotional support, where in the central part of Israel, there's more easier access to social services. Up in the north, it is less accessible. Some of the families that have been evacuated from the north want to stay in the central part of Israel because of these better services that they're getting. So if they do return, they're adding here conditions to the government. Here in the picture, we see some of the destruction in the north. There is some criticism that the government of Israel has not prepared the north well enough or good enough for the return of the evacuees. Now that there's ceasefire, the evacuees could technically go back to their homes. Well, there's lots of destruction and lots of things to repair, and they're not ready. There needs to be schools that are opening up and all of that, and apparently the north is not ready for the return of the residents. Next, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, is in trial. 4 years ago, it was when the indictment was written, and yesterday was the fourth day where Benjamin Netanyahu is testifying in court. So this is going on alongside with the war in Israel. Shinui histori shel Shvayitz, a historic change of Switzerland. So this is news about Switzerland finally, after hundreds of years, choosing to be neutral. The last 2 weeks, including yesterday, they decided to exclude Hamas and Hezbollah out of the law and to recognize them as terror groups. There are some diplomatic Swiss and government ministers that are concerned, and they're saying this will hurt our status, it will limit our activity around the world. But praise God, they are choosing a side, a historic change of Switzerland, choosing that Hamas and Hezbollah are terror groups. God bless them for that. And lastly, Haifa, one of the big major cities in Israel, is getting ready for Hanukkah and Christmas, as it serves the Jews and Christians, Arab Christians all around. Here we are in one of the major squares in Haifa. We see a big lit up Christmas tree next to a Chanukiah, getting prepared to be lit in Hanukkah. And they are hoping for many tourists to come from all over Israel, hopefully from the world as well, to come and enjoy Hanukkah and Christmas and celebrate it. They call it Ir HaOrot, the city of lights. This is all for today. For more news that matters from Israel, follow us on allisrael.com. Follow us on our social media. And if you like this video, please share it with your friends and like it. I'm Rotem again for All Israel News.